trauma impacts on every area of our life. And depending on what the trauma is, and this is the part that I'd like you to be really careful about, is that if you are experiencing trauma or you feel you might be experiencing trauma, that's best left to an expert. Because it isn't just a matter of tapping on the trauma, because there are many experiences within any trauma. And you have to know how to keep that person safe while you're taking them through the trauma release. And it can be multi-layered. And it's every one of our responsibilities to look after each other. So don't go into this area, use an expert, somebody who's very well qualified in trauma release. That's really important. And also what you have to bear in mind is that that person, as they're learning to release the trauma, especially if the trauma has been within their bodies and their minds for many years, is that in itself can be a strain. Because one would assume that all that would need to happen was that the trauma is released. However, their system may not be used to that, so you have to take them through a process very carefully and very gently. And I know I have heard people say, oh yes, I released a trauma in 5 seconds or 5 minutes. I'm a little uneasy at that because there are so many elements, so many parts, that you cannot do that process safely, in my mind, in that length of time. And remember, we're addressing so many different elements, so many different issues in terms of that traumatic release. We'll be dealing with the emotional elements, and we'll be dealing with the physical elements. And we're allowing the person to feel comfortable within that new experience of the trauma release, because their body won't be used to that experience, that feeling. So that's important to know that we have to be very careful in that process.